Good morning and welcome back to the allotment and the channel. It's turned out to be a lovely morning, very quiet. You almost feel like you've got to whisper. There's nobody down on the plots at the moment, just myself. And I've been a little bit lazy this week. The jobs that I'd promised that I'd get done between the last video and now didn't get done. Well, I say lazy, other jobs replace them. So I'm just taking out now the spent sweet peas, and I'm just going to get them off this rack, and then I'm going to harvest the shallots, and I'll show you some lovely soil improver that I've got, and it looks like I've got access to this for in perpetuity. I'll show you in 2 minutes. As you can see, these are well and truly finished, so I'm going to try and rescue the canes and get this into the compost bin. That's one off there. As I said, I think in the last video, I should have picked these a lot more, got more out of them, and they probably would have lasted, but I don't know if you're like me, I like to look at them. What's that? Today, I'm going to sort out the area where the melons are. Because there's just far too much green growth there. And there's not a lot of light getting in. And I can't see what I'm doing. I've done the tomatoes in the small greenhouse. So I want to continue and finish that off. But what I do is I've got this big bucket, and well, big bucket, it's a dustbin. And what I do is I put all the green waste into here first, along with grass cuttings, anything like that goes in here first. Oh, hang on, I need to get this net off, don't I? Forgot about that. All goes in this bin, and I fill this bin up, and what I do is once this bin's full, I then decant it into the compost. So I'm putting on a decent layer instead of just putting on, you know, little bits like that at a time. So I push that in there, put the lid on. It starts to warm up in there, to be fair, and then when I'm ready with a full load, the green goes in, then I try and get some brown on. So that's a little secret for you. Try and put bulk layers in to your compost bins. due to cut the grass probably early this week, so I'll leave that in there, and that will probably sink down a little bit to get the box of grass clippings on there through the week, and then once I've got that, that'll go into the compost bay. I'd love to see nature at work. And also down here, you can see all the black fly here, and look at the amount of ladybirds that are on here feasting on the black fly. I can't zoom in there. There's a fair few ladybirds on these calendula which are prone to getting black fly. As I mentioned, I want to harvest these shallots because I'm going to use this bed to do some direct sowing. The tips of these are starting to go brown, so I think they are ready to go. So I'm going to do that. Some nice sized ones here. Red Sun, I think these were called, and I got these when I was away with the wife for the weekend for her 60th birthday over a garden centre near Pickering. I'll just bring you in and show you these absolute crackers. Look at the size of these. And you look at those in proportion to my hands, they're really decent ones. So I know today for dinner we will be having the crook neck squash for the first time, so thank you very much for those, Ali, over on the Rusty Garden over there in Canada, and I will let you know how it tastes. I'm a bit ashamed to say that I discovered squash late in life, and I absolutely love it, particularly with soups. So I'll let you know how we go with that. I'm really grateful as well. We've got the allium leaf miner, and I know that was a disaster, but at the end of the day, it didn't get everything. You know, it sort of like targeted my main crop onions, and there were a few, the odd one or two leeks, and a few of the spring onion that it got, but really, I've done well. One of my overwintering projects is going to be to create an area, a prep area almost. So instead of taking these home like this, I want to, just at the side of the compost bay there, set something up where I can strip everything down, prepare it to take it home, and then all the green waste stays here instead of me taking it all home, doing it there, carrying it all the way back. So I want to set up some sort of system there, and a little bit of a wash area, maybe with a second-hand sink, set that up. I've got my IBC there, so I can put a little pipe in somehow and get it so that I can get some water and wash things off as well. So that's the first on the jobs list for the winter. Right, I'll crack on and finish these, and I will get back to you. I just need to go get that. So there we go. Some really decent shallots to take home with me later on. As you can see now, this bed is totally spent. The soil is dry and there's not much life in there. So we need to get that revitalised. And here is what we're going to use to do just that. I've got a friend who works at a recycling centre, and he took me around and showed me how things worked, and there was a pile of this lovely turned compost the size of, I don't know, a house. It was massive, and I managed to fill up 17 bags and brought that back to put on the bed. And I think I can have access to this when I want. So it's really good stuff. Let me just show you. It's absolutely fantastic. If you sieved this, it would be perfect. Look at these little lumps. Just look how they crumple up. It's beautiful and it smells lovely. So let's get this bed revitalised. As you can see, this all just breaks up and crumbles. Lovely. I'm going to get that spread across this bed, and this is going to be ready to go next week. But really good stuff. And as I say, each bed I empty, this is what I'm going to do. Get this stuff in there and let it. It's stunning. Showed big, huge piles of green waste being turned, and the process. I mean, there were huge piles as well. Huge, probably. I would say maybe 25 meters long, be 10 meters wide by 3.5 meters high, and they turn it every so often. And he told me that from green waste coming in to actually coming out and ending up like this, it was a 12-week cycle. Quite fascinating really, when you see things being done on such a huge scale. But look at that. I think that's going to be really good to get that mixed in. Just give it that extra bit of life for the next crop. Straight away, that dustiness has gone of the soil. So I finished prepping it. I'll show you the finished article. So there we go, that's the bed prepped, and why waste time? I might as well get some seeds in here now. So these are, this is going to be a salad box, so I'm going to put, God, it's windy. I'm going to put different varieties of lettuce in here, keeping up with that direct sowing theme. I will thin out the lettuce unlike the beetroot and things like that. I will thin this out. Just put a few more down at the bottom there. Can't stand doing these faffy little things. As I've mentioned to you before, very shaky hands. Back in there. Remember Steve from Greenside Up? Bless him. He used to be a prolific direct seed sower, and he was very proficient at it as well. Very proficient, unlike me. He just had a steady hand. I'm just going to lightly cover that, and I'll give it a water. I've got the label in there. That is a Cos lettuce. This row's going to be Lola Rosso, and this one's going to be Little Gem. But I'm going to spare you the boredom of watching me shaky hands do that. So there we go. That's bed. That bed's all prepped. 3 rows of lettuce in there, which I'll thin out as they come. As you can see, you've got the 3 labels in, and then there's enough room to put a second sowing once those are up and away. So yeah, that's brilliant. Harvested some shallots, cleaned the bed up, and salads in. Brilliant. This is the bed that had the red onions in, and the sweet peas in the centre. So the sweet peas have gone, obviously the onions have gone. What I'm going to do is just revitalise that bed with some of this compost, ready for another crop. Now I'm unsure what I'm going to do. I think realistically I need another brassica net of this same size as that one there, because I've got these going in here, and we'll start to take those this year. But the late stuff needs to go somewhere as well. So what I'm thinking is I may just get a little bit of timber and knock up another 8 foot by, I think these are 8 foot by 5 foot brassica cages, and then I can put the overwintering cabbage and brassicas in that one. And obviously these beds are all the same size, so I can move these around, you know, and rotate the planting. So yes, I think that might be a little bit more work for me. So I might throw another bag of this in here. Just getting this on the bed. It's surprising how much it does for the soil, and that's a key thing for me. I always think whenever I can get hold of any sort of soil conditioners, you know, even my old compost, everything I put back into the beds just to give the soil some body, and then later on you can always feed the plants that are in there, but just to keep the soil condition nice, crumbly and light. Right, stop waffling, Mal, get some graft done. Now that I've got that bed prepped, over here in the carrot bed, I'm going to sow some spring onions, like Lisbon. So I'm going to get a little drill, no doubt. Might do a couple of rows of these, to be fair. There's a little robin just out of shot there. Really love the peace and quiet when I come down. Really do. Just cover them over, get that stone out of the way. And just remember to water those in. So I'll move back. I've managed to get a board, I've just not got the underlay that I want to lay on there. Oh. Get another one, another row in there. Harvest, sow, repeat. That's what I'm going to be doing for the next few weeks. And we get what we get. I'll crack on, get this done, stop boring you. So that's the spring onions in. I'm back down on the bed where I sowed the lettuce, and rather than wait for these to come before I put another succession in, I might as well get a quick crop of radish in here. So put myself a couple of drills in, hopefully I can get 3 out of these, and these are sparkler. So on these. Here we go. Nice quick fire crop of these. After this, I need to go and try and harvest some crookneck squash and some carrots. Oops, I've just dropped some seeds there. And some carrots. There we go, that's one row. Oops. Go. That's the second row. And just a few more to finish the third. That should do it. should see sight of these in the next 4 days, 5 days. They are quite quick. So labels, oops, I'll just break that one in half for now. Stick you in there, you in there, you in there, and then just cover them over. There we go. I'll give them a water and they should be away. Right, let's go do a bit of harvesting. Before I take you down there, just show you the runner beans, which are now making their way up the poles. I had a right job tying these on. They just really struggled to latch onto the canes, but I think finally they're up and they're on the way. I thought I was the first person to get some runner beans that were scared of heights. Right, also, I'll show you this. I was talking to Martin the other day, and he puts these collars around his leeks. When he's showing, he does enter shows, does Martin, and he puts them round, and then what you do is you fill them up, as you can see there, with soil, and hopefully then it encourages you to get a lot more white on your leek. So I just thought, you know what, I'll do a few and let's see what the results are, and if it works then all well and good. I always was of the thinking that you couldn't get any dirt down, soil into these areas here, you know, it could cause disease. But Martin, I remember about, well, it's a fair while ago now, probably pre-COVID, he won best in show when we had a show here for his leek, and it was about 3.5 foot long, something like that, by doing it like this. So I thought I'd give it a go. Right, let's get down and do a little bit of harvesting. Right, let's fight through this crookneck plant, and here we have, so that's a beauty. That's one. I think there's another one ready for taking. I think this one here. 2, and I'll leave the rest on. So here we go. Oh, 2 crookneck. Let's have a look at the few carrots. Right, just take 1 or 2 carrots. Here's one. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Absolutely cracking. Next to it, a little smaller. I always fill the holes in as well when I pull the carrots. So let's have a look, see if there's any decent. Here's a decent one, look. Oof. There we go. That's a nice one. A smaller one next to it. I'll take these. As I said before, I never thin out, and you get decent sizes for them. So there's another. It's a bit thinner. Here's another one. I think that will be enough for me and the wife. There we go. That's a nice little harvest there to take home later on. Got myself some golden beets out as well, so we'll give them a try. Before I go, I will take you into the small greenhouse and show you how I've tidied up the tomatoes there. I put some soil improver on the sweet corn and some chicken manure, so it smells rather rural in here at the moment. And as I say, the next thing I need to do now is start to have a look at these melons and see if any of these flowers are going to actually turn into some form of fruit. A few of us have noticed that we've got a lot of male flowers on the cucumbers. Whilst I'm picking a few, they're not as prolific as they have been over the years. Exactly the same in the large greenhouse with this cucumber here. A lot of flowers, but they just don't seem to be getting pollinated. Well, that brings us to the end of another video. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for your comments, your likes, and your subscriptions. It really is appreciated. If you can give the video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, that'd be really good. I'd like to thank all my new subscribers that have come on over these last few weeks. It really is appreciated. And now we're heading for the big 5,000. Fingers crossed that'll come quicker than the 3,000 did. Anyway, I'm going to get off and get everything watered up before I leave and get myself home and have a few beers in the garden. So until midweek, take care, have a great week, and happy growing.